Hi, everyone. So last time we talked about the perfect progressive tenses. So today we're going to be talking about the progressive tense. So first of all, we're going to talk about the meaning of the progressive tense. And then later on, we're going to talk about the form or how to write the progressive tense. So there are 3 progressive tenses. Like we said before, there are 12 verb tenses in total, and the 3 main categories of past, present, and future. So for the progressive tense, there are also the past, present, and future versions of the progressive tense. The progressive tense is used to talk about an action that is continuous. That's why it's sometimes just called the continuous tense. So think about all the verbs that you do continuously. Some of my examples include running, reading, swimming, any of the verbs that you might do over a period of time can be used in the progressive tense. So I'm going to give you some examples. For the past progressive tense, I have my sentence, I was reading about Philly when you called. For the present progressive, I am eating lunch right now. For the future, I will be working at the shop tomorrow. So let's quickly go back, and I want you to think about the time words that indicate that it will be talking about the past tense, or the present tense, or the future tense. So this one, we notice that we'll be using the past tense because there is when you called, which is referring to a period in the past. Obviously, for the present tense, we have the keywords right now. And then for the future tense, the keyword here is tomorrow. In the future tense, there are 2 ways to write the future tense for all the verbs. So here I also have another example. I am going to be working at the shop tomorrow. Okay, so both of those ways of writing the future progressive tense mean the same thing. So last time we talked about the perfect progressive tense. Now let's talk about how that is different from the progressive tense. So here I have 2 examples. In the left, there is in 2008. On the right, there is before 2008. Think about what those 2 things mean and how they're different. Which one would use the progressive tense, and which one would use the perfect progressive tense? Yep, so on the left, in 2008, we would just use the progressive tense here, and in this case, we'll be using the past progressive tense because 2008 is a year in the past, obviously. And on the right, we will use the past perfect progressive tense. Okay, so think about what these 2 things mean. On the left, in 2008, it's talking about one specific year, right? The entire year of 2008. On the right, before 2008, it's talking about all the times before 2008, right? It's not a specific year. And that's why we would be using the perfect progressive tense on the right. Now let's see some examples of what that looks like in a sentence. On the left, a full sentence would read, in 2008, I was studying in university. On the right, that sentence would read, before 2008, I had been studying in high school. Right? So think about what those two sentences mean. Right? On the right, event 2 is 2008, and event 1 is I had been studying in high school. Okay. Whereas on the left, there's only the one event, and that event of I was studying in university was happening in 2008. Here are some more key words that you can look out for to see if you should be using the progressive tense or the perfect progressive tense. But it really comes down to the meaning. So for example, the key word when might indicate that you should be using the progressive tense, but you might also use the perfect progressive tense. And here are two examples. On the left-hand side, it says when you were cooking. And on the right-hand side, it says when the alarm rang. Right? You can think of on the left, when you were cooking, I was sleeping, that cooking and sleeping are happening at the same time. That's why you would just use the past progressive tense here. On the right, I have been sleeping happened first, and then the alarm rang. And that's why you would use the past perfect progressive tense here. So how do we make the progressive tense? In a sentence, for the past progressive tense, you would use the be verb first, was and were, and then you would add your verb with ing. In the present progressive tense, you would use your be verbs am, is, and are, and then add your verb and ing. In the future progressive tense, there are two ways to write it, as you can see on the screen. You can use will be and the verb in ing form, or be going to be and the verb in ing form. Now let's practice. So please practice filling in these sentences in your notebook. You can also upload your sentences into our Google Classroom. Thank you.